Kitty.
What if the struggles you've carried were never your fault? What if you spent years feeling overwhelmed, always on edge, and wondering why life feels so hard? What if healing doesn't begin in the mind, but within your nervous system? Discover the hidden traumas that quietly shape your relationships, your confidence, and the stories that keep you trapped. Join best-selling author, speaker, and trauma-informed coach, Katie Delimon. From her best-selling memoir, Trust the Flames, comes a journey of healing, resilience, and hope. Learn practical tools to calm your nervous system, create healthy boundaries, and finally, trust yourself. Join hosts Raven and Lisa Lovelight as we welcome best-selling author Katie Delimon for an inspiring conversation of healing, hope, and transformation. Healing begins when your nervous system finally feels safe. Friday, August 14th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on Soul Fire Ascension. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Soul Fire Ascension. And we have our special guest. Of course, you just saw the promo, and we are so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm just, that was one of the best introductions. And like I said, that video of my book is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel so honored.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Raven does an amazing job. She's wonderful at creating all these promo videos. So thank you. Yes. And thank you for joining us, Katie. I am the one who I read a story on the internet one day while I was at work, and I was very intrigued. And then I went to your website, and the nervous system. You know, I'm starting to learn about the nervous system. I'm in the process of becoming a breathwork meditation certified instructor. So I'm learning about the nervous system, and I thought, oh my goodness, what better than to ask you to join us and have this wonderful conversation so that we can enlighten our audience and the collective of the deeper layers of our system, which is, you know, our nervous system, which is something that not a lot of people would think about when they're stressed out and everything. Life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
incredible. I think my nervous system was pretty stressed out today, but yeah.
But and it's very normal and natural to go through and we'll get into like what it means to regulate and stay dysregulated. But when you go to sleep, your nervous system does go into shutdown. That's why you sleep. When you wake up, you will feel a bit of, you know, your cortisol is rising. So you will get sometimes into a more like elevated state. You're not going to always feel cool, calm, and collected all the time. That's not the point. You're not supposed to always just feel grounded and okay. It's resilience. It's being able to be in a heightened state, but then come back to a more regulated state more quickly, more efficiently. The best example is animals. My dog, bark, 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 could go to sleep. Their nervous systems are wired to be regulated, but we get stuck. So say we're yelling at somebody because we're in a fight, or somebody, pulls in front of us in a car and our heart rate starts to go up. That will stay with us for maybe hours potentially. You could go home and still feel agitated and then get in a fight with your partner, or say something to your kid that you might regret because of that person who cut you off. Whereas the dog has already gone to sleep and forgot about it. So that's nervous system regulation. It's resilience, and it's also being able to be like in a sleeping state and be able to come up out of it more quickly. So many people will wake up but they feel really groggy for hours. That's probably a dysregulated nervous system too, that you're not able to get out of the shutdown and get back in to a more alive state quickly and efficiently. So again, we'll go into all that like mumbo jumbo, but it's not about being calm and mature all the time. Well, that's great. It's not reality.
Absolutely.
Right.
So true.
Good. I don't feel so bad now.
No. It's actually like, this is another thing that we demonize stress. Stress is actually really good for the heart. We need stress in the body. It's the chronic stress. It's the fact that we're now getting stressed over everything. The dings, the notifications, all of the information overload, the sensory overload, the being connected to so many things and people, and all of the stuff is now just making us chronically stressed, where when we were in a cave and doing our own thing, we were probably regulated most of the day, and then maybe something happened and we got really scared and maybe we had to run away, but then we were kind of calm again. But now we're just bombarded by stress, and we don't have the tools to regulate. Or boundaries. Boundaries is one of my favorite words. It's like, I don't believe people have an issue with stress. They don't have good boundaries. That's what it's really saying.
Yes.
But again, this is something we can chat about.
Awesome. Oh, and before we continue, yes, this over here, if you scan that,
it will take you directly to Katie's website.
Oh, thank you.
No,
Awesome.
thank you.
No, really, thank you.
Absolutely, because not only are you an author, you have a book, you are also, you're jam-packed, right? You're a yoga teacher, you're a life coach, you do one-on-one sessions, as well as other things that you offer as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes. So I've always, because I love building community, or just, I love when women get together. I used to do a lot of retreats. I don't do them so much anymore, but actually during COVID, I held a retreat a women's wellness retreat every month. And it's just, as you know, I mean, you're two beautiful women coming together. There's so much power in coming into a circle, and just having somebody else cheer you on is way more powerful. Like the research on not just community, but having like somebody to help you, being in your corner, is actually more effective than being resilient. Like you could be a mentally tough person, but still not be well. But if you have support and you have people behind you, you just move, the growth goes faster, and you feel more alive. You feel more connected. You feel more joy. And like someone who is happy and healthy wants to see somebody else doing well as well. So it's just it's a circle. And so I'm just launched my group coaching program, and I'm just kind of seeing how that works, because I've only ever really done one-to-one normally. But yeah, group coaching program, and I called the 90 Days to Inner Self-Confidence. So we're going to start in September when I'm back from Burning Man. And we're going to go from September to December. And if you're not confident by Christmas, you can continue working with me for free. That's my guarantee.
Wow.
Nice.
That's beautiful. And so you said it's going to be in a group setting. So is it like a
Yes.
once a week or a how often are you meeting with everybody?
Yep, once a week for 12 weeks, which I know so many people are like, that's too much for me. And look, the calls are there for your own personal, priority. That's if you want to. You'll have access to all the stuff online digitally. And you also have access to me one-to-one. So you can WhatsApp me anytime if you're going through something specific. Obviously, with the time difference, we'll make it work. And also the call will be a call time that's great for everybody. And if call times are too much, I'll just make 2 or 3 calls a week, which is totally fine. But yeah, I really want to form a little community and help women rise together. Like I said, like the power behind other women, it's strong.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. And what an opportunity. And is that on your website as well?
Yeah, it's called the 90 Days to Inner Self-Confidence.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 4 weeks, we work on building your nervous system capacity, because I always say, people want more money, they want more love, they want more joy, they want more peace, but they're not willing to sit with the uncomfortable parts that it takes to have more. So if you want more love, you have to be more vulnerable, and that's uncomfortable. You have to have vulnerable conversations. You have to say things you normally wouldn't. You have to do things you normally wouldn't. Like, you have to put yourself in situations that you normally wouldn't. More love requires more vulnerability. And that also means exposing more of you, which is scary for people. People want more money, but that means more responsibility, more risk. People want more success, but that's more pressure. People want more freedom. And I'm going to tell you now, if you want more freedom, there is so much more uncertainty that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always say, like, the depth or like the smallness or the bigness of your life is just a reflection on your own nervous system capacity, how much you can handle discomfort.
Wow. Oh, here we go. Here's the parade.
Oh, they just want to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Wow.
Yeah, Boo's sitting over here in the corner pouting because during the intro she tried to get up and my hand went down and she was like, well, if you don't want me up there, fine. So now she's sitting there pouting. I was like, poor baby.
Yep.
They are just angels from above.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Boo just likes to be on camera.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. So, I mean, so packed.
Yes, there was a lot in that intro. So I'm like, how can we make this more digestible and break it down? And I think, in my 90 Days to Inner Self-Confidence program, that's kind of what I do. So the first 4 weeks is about building your nervous system capacity. So first and foremost, what is the nervous system? Your nervous system it controls your breathing. It controls the temperature of your body. It controls your hormones. It controls your digestive tract. It pretty much controls everything that is super vital and important in your body. Okay? That's like your heart beating, your temperature in your body, your digestive, and your hormones. That's the most important parts. And it's your brain, it's your spinal cord, and it's all your nerve endings. But to break it down really simple, nervous system regulation is about how can you regulate your stress. It's your ability to feel stress and discomfort and then be able to be with it instead of trying to avoid it, push it away, numb it, or act like it's not there. And unfortunately,
absolutely.
Yeah. And so when we were little, though, so most people have heard of the fight or flight, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Fight or flight. is when your heart rate goes up. And we think about this like stepping on the gas. We call that the sympathetic nervous system. So when you were little and say there was stress around, which was probably normal, I think most of us have grown up with some trauma, whether that's big T, little t, anything in between. Nobody was perfect. Nobody got out alive. That stress, that trauma, if you couldn't fight, because maybe you did say something and you got angry, but your parents got angrier back, you would have been like, okay, but I can't leave. You can't flight. That's the next one. When you get so stressed, you leave. You can't leave when you're little. You can't leave the house. You do see some kids trying to do that, but for the most part, you can't fight, you can't flight. So what do? You freeze. You shut down. That's what most people, especially women, do. But on the outside, it looks, oh my God, they're so calm. They're so mature. They're so independent. Look at them. They don't need my help. They're handling it so well. So it gets confused. It's a trauma or a stress response to freeze or shut down, but it's actually your nervous system still really dysregulated. And so we now confuse those states with like maturity. And then there's also a state called fawning. And this is where we try to people please. This is where we try to make sure that everybody else is okay. So we're checking in on everybody else before we're checking in on ourselves. And again, something that most women naturally do because we saw our parents do that or our grandmothers do that and so on and so forth. And again, we get praised. Oh, they're so helpful. They're so mature for their age. Oh my God, they're the best big sister ever. So then we think, oh, well, that's what I do when there's stress. I make sure that everybody else is okay first. That's your fawning. But again, your nervous system is dysregulated because it's like, hey, listen to me. Like, I'm not okay. Can you please listen to me first? And so this is where we get in those dysregulated states and we have to do things differently. And so I like to think of the nervous system. I usually, when I do it with my corporate clients, I have like dye in little cups of water. And so your red cup is your fight or flight. That's like you stepping on the gas pedal and your heart elevates, like you get sweaty, you want to leave or you want to yell. But then if that goes on for too long and you don't know what to do, you then go down into freeze or shut down. And your heart rate actually slows. And this is where you start to get numb, you disassociate, you just feel really tired, lethargic, you check out, right? And then there's the fawn state, and that's where you're trying to make everybody else, be okay. And the fawn state is confusing because you're anxious, but you're also trying to shut down at the same time. So it's like the gas and the brake on at the same time. So it's really confusing for the body. Because if you tried to press on the gas and the brake in a car, you would seize the engine, right? So that's what you're literally doing to your body on the inside. You're like, you're doing too much. And then what we call the regulated state, the green state, I put a little dye in there for the green. That's when you're able to notice what state you're in and to do something to help you get out of that state and into a more connected state, meaning connected to your breath, connected to your body, connecting to what's around you and being able to ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? And then take it instead of worrying about what everybody else is going to think. And so it's really an empowering tool. No, please go.
No, I was going to say, and the very thing that you are describing about the trauma and the nervous system, that is also how we get soul fragments.
Yes. We disconnect from ourselves.
Yes.
And then that also makes room for lost souls. I think when we are so disconnected, that's an opportunity for lost souls to come in and to, connect or attach themselves.
Yes.
But yeah, so one of my favorite definitions is by Gabor Mate, which I don't know if you've heard of him. He's an amazing doctor of trauma and addiction and all that. And he says, safety is not the absence of a threat, it's the presence of connection. And I'm going to say it again because it's powerful. Safety is not the absence of a threat, it's the presence of connection. Which means no matter what threat is happening, as long as you can stay connected to your body, your breath, and connected to the people around you, you can get through anything. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean you're not going to be affected. That doesn't mean you're not going to have emotions. That doesn't mean you're not going to have strong reactions. But it does mean that it's not going to live and sit in your body as tension, as headache, as nausea, as digestive issues, as anxiety, as, you know, I think every perimenopause and menopause symptom is just a dysregulated nervous system. If you look at it, it's like brain fog. It's like, no, you've probably just been shutting down for too much. Mm-hmm. You look at my IBS. I had constipation for 30 years of my life, 30 years. I went to the bathroom. I pooped once a week. I thought that was normal. Wow. Because when you get stressed, the blood from your digestive tract goes to your limbs so that you can leave. So your body goes into a state of danger. And so that blood in your nervous system, the blood in your digestive tract goes to your limbs so that you can move faster. If your blood is constantly leaving your digestive tract, it's not going to be a healthy digestive tract. It needs that blood to pump the food through to get down. Mm-hmm. And you've got 26 feet of intestines. Like, you need it to be working. And another reason, this is a big thing with nervous system regulation, your breath. The average person takes 20 to 22,000 breaths a day, which is highly toxic, highly dysfunctional. We should be taking 10 to 15 breaths, 10,000 to 15,000 a day instead of 20 to 22,000. And what that looks like is inhale for 4, exhale for 6. That's 10 seconds. You do that 6 times in 1 minute. That's an optimal breathing pattern. What we're doing, though, is we're stealing so much CO2 from the plants and the trees. We're taking more CO2 in. We're literally being greedy. We're not giving them enough oxygen. We're taking too much oxygen and we're holding on to that CO2. We're not giving it away to them, the plants. So literally, most people think, oh, I need to breathe in when I feel stressed. No. That elevates your heart rate. You want to exhale out nice and long. You want to give the plants that CO2. And that naturally slows the heart rate. But unfortunately, when somebody has an anxiety attack, why is that? Because the CO2 is stuck in their chest. Mm-hmm. They can't breathe, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're not taking enough exhales. And they're not breathing down in their belly, which I'm a yoga teacher. So I learned this at an ashram over 10 years ago, diaphragmatic breathing. Again, the reason why you will have IBS issues is because if you're not breathing in your belly, your diaphragm is literally massaging. That's why the rib cage moves up and down. So many people, when I watch them breathe, it's all in their neck and in their chest. They go, they're not breathing in their belly. Mm-hmm. And think about your rib cage expanding on the inhale, contracting on the exhale. If you want to just focus on anything, I would say focus on slow, deep, diaphragmatic breathing. Mm-hmm. It will change your life. And if anybody's a yogi and knows Ujjayi breath, where you close your lips and just breathe in and out through the nose, even better.
Yep, the Ujjayi.
Slow the breath down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that for our audience, because the fight, the flight, the fawn, the freeze, and because that's a key ingredient to know, and then also to observe in ourselves, right? Like, am I?
Yes, awareness.
Am I? How do I breathe? No, I froze. So, yeah, right. We are not taught how to be humans. We're not taught how to be healthy. We're not taught how to breathe, and we're not taught how to die. How you let this thing go when you're ready
No.
to leave. So, yeah. Thank you so much for going in depth into the nervous system. So, and
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, because like you said, when growing up, our nervous system gets programmed with like our responses and our experiences, right? And
Yes.
sometimes these experiences stay trapped in our body. How do we get
Yeah.
rid of
Yeah.
that? Right. And
Yeah. Well,
so this, no, please go ahead.
yeah. I was just going to say one of the biggest key things there is that language of getting rid. We don't want to get rid of. We want to form a better relationship. So they're little parts of us, right? So I'll give you my example. So I grew up in a home where there was a lot of silence, secrets, and shame. So I was actually a child born of infidelity. I think that's the article you read in the Huffington Post. I didn't know that my biological father was different than the man who raised me until I was 38. I took an ancestry.com test. But that secret was just one secret of many secrets. My mother had a sister who was murdered, and my mom adopted her son. But that was also a secret. So growing up, we knew that our brother was different, and we had this aunt that nobody talked about. But I found death certificate papers and figured it out on my own at like 11 or 12. He found out on his own around like 12 or 13. He is older than me, so he found out by himself. And then there was so many other secrets and silence and shame, and everything was like hush hush, we don't talk about it. But my mom, she was very explosive when it came to like anything that upset her. She exploded, and she obviously hid a lot of secrets. My dad, on the other hand, was Polish, and he was very loyal and he was very consistent, but he would just shut down. He would he would do the silent treatment because he could not get anything out. Whereas my mom was fight or flight, right? She was explode. And she would either leave or she would yell. That's fight or flight, typical. My dad was a complete shutdown. He just wouldn't talk, wouldn't move, wouldn't leave, or show the emotions. So I grew up in an environment where I learned how to do both of them as my response. But it didn't work in my favor as I got older because I realized that I was shutting down a lot and putting up walls instead of being more vulnerable and allowing people in for safety. But then I would also explode or just leave. That was I would just leave situations like, no, don't want to avoid the discomfort, avoid having to deal. So I learned all these stress responses from watching my parents do what they did when they were stressed. And again, nobody is perfect. Like, I don't know anybody who has emotionally mature parents if they were born, maybe 2005 onwards. I don't know. Like, not many people had the opportunity and the privilege to have emotionally mature parents because they were surviving. Like, my mom was a child of 9. My grandmother raised 9 kids by herself. She had 9 kids to 3 different men. My mom's dad was an alcoholic. It was not a good situation. So she was thriving. Like, nobody was talking to her about the nervous system. She was like, how the hell am I going to feed 9 kids? Like, so I understand that what they were going through was a lot different, a very stressful, and they only knew what they knew. But now, again, we have this opportunity to be like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't very helpful when that happened. And this isn't helping me out now as an adult. Awareness is always that first step. What are you doing that you don't really feel comfortable with or aligned with, or maybe it just doesn't feel good after you do it, after you say it? Like, notice how it feels in your body, because you're going to notice those unhelpful patterns that you do. They're not going to feel good. And it's not to say that you're a bad person or these are just a personality flaw. This is another thing. People just think, oh, but that's just who I am. I just shut down during conflict. No, that's what you learn to do during conflict. Because I'm sure if your situation at home was different, you would have learned to do something different. You learned all these behaviors. It's not your personality and it's not a flaw. You're not broken. You can retrain yourself. being an adult is unlearning all the unhelpful things and relearning more emotionally mature things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, we do have to do that, but it's work.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't pick friends or partners that want to do the work as well. And people are not going to grow at the same rate either. So you have to be willing to be compassionate, but also what are your standards? If somebody isn't growing at a rate that is comfortable for you, you may have to let that relationship go. And it doesn't mean that you're better and they're worse. It just means that, like, if you are really serious about your own growth, you know, there's that saying, if you want to fly, you got to let go of the shit that weighs you down. And again,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean they're bad people, but if you're staying in these places that are keeping you small, like, you're going to stay small.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a comment from David, who is actually part of Australia. He lives in Australia as well. So he says, thank you for the breathing. I will know how to relax next time I have my blood pressure taken. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Think about the long exhales. And you can blow it through a straw if that helps to, like, slow it down. And
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about getting such a deep breath in. Worry about the exhale out, because that's actually making room in your belly for a deeper breath in. So the key to a deep breath in is, first and foremost, always a long, deep breath out, because you got to literally empty the belly.
Mm-hmm.
And so think about breathing into your belly button. You want your belly to expand like a balloon and contract and deflate on the exhale. That diaphragm is such an important, it's one of the most underrated, it's a muscle. It's the reason why our ribs actually move. It's that diaphragm. It's a balloon structure in our belly. It's one of the most underrated muscles in the world. If you can massage it as well, which will help it stretch. That's why yoga is really good, because we stretch the diaphragm. Another really simple way to stretch your diaphragm and work on your breathing is to do it on your belly. That's why there's yoga poses like locust pose, where you're on the belly and you and exhale, because when your diaphragm is a little pushed against the ground, so it's a little restricted, so that you really try to inhale into the belly and exhale. So that's another really simple way to try to regulate your breathing, and just go slow. Doesn't have to be super deep.
And what was that pose called? The lotus
The
or
locust
locust?
pose, or locust, or shalabhasana,
Okay.
where you're on your belly, and you can have your hands alongside your body, and your legs are really long, and you're kind of like a pencil, and you just inhale, you lift up, and then you exhale, you lower down. You lift up and you lower down. And you can also do it with like a Pilates squishy ball. If you've ever seen one of those, the Pilates balls are kind of squishy. You can put one of them underneath your belly and kind of roll around on it, and you can take a few breaths on it. So it's a squishy ball, not a hard ball. You don't want to like puncture anything.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Excellent. And if I'm not mistaken, on your website, also, you have something else to offer besides this group that you're doing at the moment for confidence. Do you have, I think it was a nervous system reset?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah. I
the,
call it the reboot. It's kind of like
the
rebooting your
reboot?
computer.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty basic, simple, and beginner, but it gives you so much information on not just the nervous system, but we have a thing called the vagus nerve. And that is wildly important when it comes to regulating our nervous system and being able to also speak our truth, because it's the longest nerve in our body, and it starts from the base of your spine, and it goes down into your throat, into like all your organs, in all your belly. And 80% of that is your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest, digest, and heal. So if you are able to tone your vagus nerve through diaphragmic breathing, through humming, singing, through even like gratitude or like cold water exposure of like being quite like really cold, but being able to breathe through it, that really helps too. All these little things can actually tone your vagus nerve. And something you can just test out right now is take 3 swallows down through your throat and notice if that's hard or easy to do. You could do it right now. Most people say it's pretty hard. It feels restricted. That probably means you're holding some stress there. We hold unconsciously a lot of stress in our throat, especially women, because we've been so suppressed and, you know, don't have a voice, can't talk. So it's very common for our throat chakra, and which is a huge part of your vagus nerve, to be kind of stuck and tight. And so you want to like relax that, and just swallowing forces you to slow down, mindfulness, and relax. And then, take a nice big breath in, big breath out, and sighing it out. Sighs are great for releasing stress. Like, you don't want to get in the nasty habit of breathing through your mouth, but you do want to like let a big exhale out, like let that noise out, like pent upness.
Yes.
There's so many little exercises. But yeah, in the nervous system reboot, I go everything like, what is the nervous system? What are the states? How to get yourself out of that state and into a more regulated state. So when you're in fight mode, you want to do something different if you're in flight mode. If you're in freeze mode, you want to do something different than if you were in shut, you know, so each state you do something different. You know, so if you're in fight or flight, you probably want to do something that's a little bit more calming. But if you're in freeze or shutdown, you do need to bring your energy up, because what you've done is you've slowed everything down too much. So when you are in freeze or shutdown, you do want to do something that will elevate your heart rate, but not too big, too fast, too soon.
Awesome.
I always say, if you're in freeze or shutdown, think of it as, I want to do something gentle, something consistent, but also uncomfortable. Most people think gentle, but not uncomfortable. They're like, I'll do something gentle, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable. So you've got to feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Excellent. And for your nervous system reboot, as you mentioned, you have techniques in there. If I'm not, and then you have like different categories that you go through to assist people when they're doing the reboot, as well as guided meditations in there. I obviously I was checking it out.
Well, there's actually on my website, you can get my guided meditations. You can also get my nervous system toolkit for free. So it's actually a bunch of things that are in the nervous system reboot, but I'm just giving them away for free. And if it's something that interests you, then the reboot is only 167 Australian, which is probably like 80 US. Like it's very,
it's
very well priced. It's
it's
under 100.
And yes, that is very well priced. And it's something that will last a lifetime, because you're teaching techniques that are helpful. And yes, it is a little work, as you mentioned, right? It takes work, but
consciousness over convenience.
Oh, I like that. Consciousness over convenience. Yes. Yes.
Everything is hard though. So, you know, being healthy is hard. Being unhealthy is hard. Having kids is hard. Not having kids is hard. Like, choose your own hard. Like, any path that you choose, you're going to come up against something. There's going to be something that's uncomfortable. But what do you want that uncomfortable to be? Do you want it to be vulnerability, or do you want it to be shutdown, the silent treatment? Do you want it to be more connection or more disconnection? Your choice.
Yes. Wow. I'm excited. I definitely am going to sign up for the free stuff for the nervous system. And possibly
I'll send you
even the reboot.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like for me, I am a mother of 4. My children are my oldest is going to be 28. My youngest is 16. But with that range, when I'm learning these things, then I can share it with them because these are important
Exactly.
things. This is important, truly.
It is. And it honestly will change not just your life, but it is a ripple effect, not just for your children, but even the way you treat a perfect stranger or your partner or your mother-in-law who you might be having a challenge with. Like it can actually cause a ripple effect. And I have immensely seen the positive effects in every relationship in my life. It is unfortunately it's made some relationships strained and estranged. Like some people have left my life. But then the people who have stayed, it's only made it more deep and more meaningful and richer.
Mhm.
And I always say, like, speaking up never reveals an unhealthy relate or never when you speak up and if it reveals dysfunction or some sort of unhealthy dynamic, that's because it was always there. Speaking up and talking about things doesn't cause more grief. If you're coming from a regulated state where you're talking as politely and respectfully, should I say, as possible, strike when the iron is cold. Try not to figure things out when you're elevated or if somebody's in shutdown or somebody's in, fight or flight. Try to recognize when that's happening and say, right, maybe you need to go for a walk, maybe you need to, do whatever it is, put an ice pack on your chest. I don't know. Like there's so many different options. Recognizing when you're dysregulated and then being able to come back when you're regulated or at least a little bit less charged.
Mhm. Beautiful. Thank you for that.
And healthy conflict, it's not something, again, that we learned, but we can teach ourselves and practice.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
geez, we have
Now,
so
we
many more
haven't talked.
resources.
Oh, I know. But I think that's
You know,
probably
I
what keeps a lot of people back sometimes because it's too much,
that too,
too
but
much
you know, you
information.
have to think of it. Our parents and their parents did the best they could with the resources that they had. And we're fortunate that we have the resources that we do have
Mhm.
for people.
I agree.
And I had a question. In your book, you describe reaching a point where your life was falling apart. But later
Mm.
you realized it was actually the beginning of your healing. How do you help people recognize the difference between falling apart and finally waking up?
Mm. It's that breakdown is a breakthrough sort of. And when you're in it, if somebody says that to you, you're like, shut the fuck up. This is, you're thinking, you're
Uh-huh.
like, this is the worst day of my life. Like, can you please just let me have a pity party for myself? So, and I think it's like the stages of grief, right? Like there will be anger, there will be frustration, there will be confusion, there will be sadness, there will be regret. It's allowing all of that to come, like the Buddha, but not get attached. And you may not know in hindsight, like the reason why you're going through this horrendous breakup or this cancer diagnosis or this horrible divorce or maybe losing all this money or whatever the thing is happening. Again, it's revealing what's solid and what's going to fall off because it's not solid. It's loosey goosey and it's not meant for you, and or at
Yep.
least not at the next stage of your life. Like again, some things have to leave your life. We've got to be okay with letting shit go, and sometimes it's people, sometimes it's things, sometimes it's possessions, animals, money, whatever it is. Not everything stays along during our journey, and to find becoming the person you needed when you were little to feel safe now. So when you're in that shithole, it's great to look outside of yourself for answers and support and connection, but to really come back to you and make sure you're treating your body and listening to you. And I'll give you an example. This wasn't in my book because I wrote this book. I started 7 years ago. I published it 3.5, 4 years ago. But I didn't know that the man who raised me wasn't my biological father. I mean, I did. Somebody told me, but I shoved that down and I was like, I'm never thinking that again. Anyways, so my soul chose to not know, but I know that I knew. Anyways, when I found out, the man who raised me is in America and I live in Australia, and my whole family was like, don't tell him. This is going to kill him. He's 73. He has high blood pressure, high cholesterol. He's by himself in the middle of nowhere in West Virginia. I went to a psychologist, a really good one. And she was like, Katie, he doesn't have your toolkit. He's much older. He's vulnerable. What if you go there and then when you leave and something happens, are you going to be able to live with yourself? All of my siblings, all of my aunts, you're selfish. All you're thinking about is yourself. Why don't you just grow up and get over it? Your mom made this mistake, not him. If this went on for months, because by the time I found out, and then when I flew there was 6 months in between. I knew the whole time he knew, because he wasn't a dum-dum. My mom's affairs, she never kept them. She was open about it. He knew about them all. And this one in particular went on for years, like 10 plus years. He's not a fucking idiot. So anyways,
Wow.
I didn't want to do it over the phone. I wanted to fly there. And everybody, even I went to a psychic. My psychic brought my mom through. My mom was crying, saying, please don't tell him, it's going to be so bad for his health. So I had a psychic. I had a psychologist. I had my best friend since I was 5 years old. The first thing she said was, ooh, Katie, I don't think you should tell him. No. It just, in my heart of hearts, like, you were his favorite. Like, don't, what if this breaks his heart? So everybody was against me, everybody. And I'm like, fuck you all. Like, I know I was always going to have this conversation. And I go there, and it's not easy for me to bring this up, but I brought it up as emotionally mature as I could, even though it wasn't the best delivery. But I was just like, so I found out information about my biological father. Like, I just said, did you know? And he goes, yeah, I knew, but your mother lied to me. So my mom gaslit him for her whole life. She passed away 13 years ago. She lied and said, no, she's your daughter. Who are you going to believe, me or them? My dad was so gaslit and afraid that he thought he was crazy that he didn't want to say anything. But he said, I've wanted to do hundreds of times. He was going to put it in the will. He said it was a relief that we were having that conversation. Mm-hmm. So the opposite of what everybody else was thinking and what I knew what was going to happen, I said, this is only going to make us closer, more vulnerable, more connected, more respected. And it did. Mm-hmm. It also meant I lost a lot of other relationships because the way they treated me during all that. Mm-hmm. Because that's, again, these are all revealers. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean they're shitty people. That doesn't mean I don't love them and they don't love me. It just means that I am not going to continue relationships where, you don't have to agree with what I'm doing, but if you're really going against me and not supporting me in a way of like, look, I may not agree with you, but blah, 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 blah. So again, these things come into our lives for a reason, to show us what's going to stay and what's not going to stay. And the things that are meant to stay will only get better. I promise you, they will only get better.
That's a beautiful story. I mean, and
thank you.
And it's also beautiful that you said you can still love these people, yes, but you can't have them in your life.
Yeah. And I mean, I also, side note, I recently have rekindled a friendship after we were no contact for almost 15 years. So back in 2012, I was really good friends with somebody who visited me in New York from Australia. He never talked to me again, completely wiped me out of his life. He saw one of my articles in the Daily Mail, reached out, and we have a beautiful connection. And he cried. We talked about things. You can potentially have that relationship back, but two people have to be willing to go there.
Yes.
And even though we had that conversation, that doesn't mean we're going to be besties forever, but it means that that connection is not gone. To keep things open.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't keep it so final.
No, nothing
Well,
is.
I mean, exactly. And change, I mean, everything changes. We all change.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. And the energy is just recycled. And it's like, I want to be turning my compost or my shit into compost. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let it grow. Let it be a fertilizer for the next whoever picks it up.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I really admire about you, Katie, is that you are direct and honest. And
which has not always been loved by many people, but
no, it's not. But sometimes you got to say the hard things, right?
yeah.
Mm.
I don't mind talking about an elephant in the room. But I think that's just a reflection of what my life was. I was lied to my whole life and I knew it. So why do you think I'm so obsessed with people who lie? So obsessed with secrets, so obsessed with just talking about things because of what happened to me. Like, again, that shows you like what your upbringing does to you is a lot of your personality in a way, but it's not necessarily has to be a bad thing. But I also look at like one of my deepest core wounds is that I don't belong because I'm an only child technically to my mom and biological father, yet I have 8 half siblings. I never felt like I've belonged. I don't feel like I'm American. I don't feel like I'm Australian. Am I a yoga teacher? Am I an author? Am I a coach? Like, what am I? Like, I don't belong anywhere because that's my deepest core wound. When I came out, I knew that like everybody was lying to me. I knew that something wasn't right and I couldn't put my finger on it. And so I always have felt like I don't belong here because people weren't honest with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I think, if people just kind of peeled back the layers and looked at like, what was the environment you grew up in? And we didn't talk too much about the 10 hidden traumas, but I can briefly go over them. They're very self-explanatory. I don't know if you want me to share a screen or anything, but I could just kind of talk through them a little bit quickly. But basically, people just think that trauma is a really big thing, like either sexual trauma or physical violence or war or something really big. But trauma is just a wound. And we all have wounds. It means wound in the Greek language. And you can feel trauma or a wound from never feeling heard or understood. So, like maybe you grew up in a household that told you to stop crying. It's not a big deal when you had emotions. Or maybe you grew up in a home where it was conditional love, where you only received praise when you achieved something or had good grades or the sports or the high expectations. And maybe, you grew up in a home where you were constantly the good girl or the good boy and the easy child because you never expressed what you needed. You always complied. You took care of your siblings, as we were saying before. You can have trauma or a wound from lack of emotional support during a big life event. Maybe there was one time you were really bullied, or maybe when your pet was, it passed away and you didn't get the right support through that. That can actually stay in your body as tension, as a wound. Like I remember when I had a panic attack in front of judges when I had a public speaking contest in the 6th grade. That experience lives in my nervous system as anxiety when I go up in front of people. Like I remember, my body remembers being back up there. Like I'll get sweaty, my voice will shake. And so what do I do to regulate, to be like, oh, Katie, you're not there anymore. You're here. Breathe out, relax my shoulders. Like I do little somatic body things to help me stay connected. Otherwise, I'm going to get lost in my head. Mm-hmm. It'd be like, see, Katie, it's going to happen again. You're going to lose your voice. They're going to judge you. You're going to lose. Like you're going to ruin the competition. So these little things usually have more power than the big things, to be honest. Like, not to dumb anybody's trauma down, but there are little things that probably are still you're holding on to that you're like, but why would I hold on to that? Like, it was so small. It was so silly. Just get over it. But again, how are you treating yourself when that comes up? Are you saying just get over it? That's not very compassionate, is it? So treating yourself when these things come up with this same compassion that you needed when you were little now. Mm-hmm. And that's not being passive. That's being compassionate. Mm-hmm. Maybe you grew up in a really cold household where none of your parents showed any sort of affection, or they were emotionally unavailable. Or maybe they minimized and dismissed the traumas. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, get over it. Mm-hmm. And then there's also, which I don't know if any of you fall into the category of the parentified child. So that's the child who takes on a lot of the responsibilities of the adults. Like it usually is the eldest, especially if it's a female. She takes care of all the little siblings. Not because anybody told her to, but because it's kind of expected and she just does it on her own, or him. It could also be the youngest. I've seen it with the youngest and even the middle. It depends on the family dynamics, but very common for one child or more to be parentified, where you take on that role. And then again, you get praise for it. So you're like, oh, but I'm such a good person. I'm such a good sibling for it. I took care of mom and dad through all of their hospice journeys. Like it becomes a badge you wear. Yet your body was so dysregulated. You gained a bunch of weight. You have like all this inflammation in your body. You got like rosacea. Like all these things happened, but you're the great child because you took care of everybody else before yourself. Like we think it's selfish to take care of our bodies before. And we also think that if we take care of us, we can't take care of them. You can do two things, but it requires vulnerability. It requires also asking other people to help you.
Which, that's something a lot of people have problems with.
Asking for help.
Yes.
That's it. That's the crux of, I think, a lot of pain and wounding, that there is always help if you ask for it, but people don't. Again, vulnerability. The
That's
bravest
true.
and most sexiest things you can say is, I don't know. I need help. Will you help me? Like that's actual bravery, but people think that it's weakness.
Wow.
And you've got the toxic masculinity thing going on where, again, they've got to be the macho man, which is not, I actually am dumbfounded that that's happening. The whole mansphere thing, I'm like, is this real? Surely not.
It is.
Yeah.
It truly is.
And two other hidden traumas. You can also say you were very like curious or very like artsy growing up, but that was dismissed. Like that's not important. You don't need to do that. And there's so many people out there who have this creativity in them, but they don't explore it because they were told to dim that light when they were little. And then last is if your parents or the household use shame as a discipline, which I think we've all heard stuff like that, like you're being lazy or selfish or the troublemaker. And it's labeled as, tough love or discipline. And it's like, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of emotionally immature and inconsistent households that we grew up in. So now it's like peeling back the layers and becoming the more emotionally mature adult and regulated. That's what it is, regulated adult, of noticing when that stress is coming on and what to do to get through it, to be with it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, because that's a common denominator in life. We're all going to experience stressful situations, but it's how we navigate ourselves through those waters. So
Yeah. Yeah. I always say you can either get through something or regulate through something. And again, we're not minimizing your trauma if you had a traumatic birth, if you had a horrible divorce, if you lost a lot of money, if you have a cancer diagnosis. Anybody can get through any of that. But can you regulate through? Meaning, say you had a traumatic birth, when you think about it or talk about it, does your body still respond? Do you still get really agitated, and does it affect you? Say you lost a lot of money and every time you look at your bank account, your stomach drops, you know? Say you were having marital problems and the trust was lost, but yet was never repaired. Just because something happens where trust gets lost doesn't mean it can't come back. So many relationships will just be like, oh, well, the trust was lost years ago. That sounds like resentment, not a trust issue, because me and my husband have had trust from the both of us lost, but we make sure that it comes back because we never throw old shit back up, ever. If it was in the past, we deal with it then. We don't bring that back up. We don't kitchen sink that shit. No, that's unhealthy. And
yes.
so that's another thing. It's like, it's being very mindful of, is it resentment or is it a lack of trust? Because people need to check themselves before they wreck themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to comment about I just want to mention, I really love the way you named all the chapters in your book.
Thank
Trust the
you.
Flames with all of the chapters. But of course it's, right. It's like describing what was going on in that moment. And I just love it. You're like, it's so creative the way you came up with all those chapters. So.
Yeah.
And
No, it's funny because in memoirs, they usually don't name chapters.
mhm.
And they don't have a table of contents. That was kind of one of the things when I was publishing the book. They're like, yeah, when you have a memoir, they don't really do a tables of content. And I didn't. But I was like, I love seeing all the names though, because it's all about fire and it's all about burning and it's all about, everything to do with fire.
Mhm.
And I loved that part of like naming it. I love that you said that because I've never had anybody comment on that. And that's one of my favorite parts of the book too.
Absolutely.
Soul
Absolutely.
Sisters.
Mhm.
And where can our audience get your book at?
Amazon is, the quickest and the fastest and the cheapest. But yeah, if you
Or
go on my, or this,
website?
yeah, website. Yeah, the website will have a link to anywhere they sell books, Barnes and Nobles, and you can get a digital copy on Google, on any Kindle, anywhere they sell digital books, it's there. You can literally get it anywhere. I don't personally distribute it, but it's all on my website. But yeah, Amazon is always the quickest. And yeah, and my website is my name, Katie Delimon, and as all of my social medias is just my name. Everything is pretty straightforward. And my book is
Mhm.
called Trust the Flames.
Yes. Trust the Flames.
And working on a
Beautiful.
second one as well, Lies We Inherit.
Oh,
Oh, that
excellent.
one's going to be interesting too.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, Katie, we have this question that we ask all of our guests. So, and I will show it up here. what message would you like to leave our audience with today?
To go inward, to connect with your breath, connect with your body, listen to the messages that it's telling you. You know, I love to think of the word PAIN as an acronym for pay attention inward now. Any pain that you're going through right now, whether that's physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, pay attention inward now. Go inside. See what it's telling you. And that doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, that you're going to have some epiphany, but to just keep going inward and noticing what's going on in your body. And trust that it's a very profound wisdom that is guiding you to the light, if you must, to trust that.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Oh,
And for everybody watching, we'd love to hear from you. What part of today's conversation resonated most with you, for our viewers now and our future viewers as well? And Katie, we could talk to you
thank you.
all night long because you're so knowledgeable, and but we encourage everybody, please go to the website.
Yes. At the very least, please, if she has a free offer to send you to assist you with nervous system, so check it out, please.
Yes.
And one of our guests here this evening, Eric, says thank you, Katie. He also welcomed you.
And I love the 4 3s. That's actually a good sign for me, because my lucky number is 4 and my husband's is 3, and that's 4 3s.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I love that.
Beautiful synchronicities.
And we have pay attention inward now. I hope to always remember that. Yeah, me too. I think that's a really good thing.
And again, it's not to shame your body, like, oh, look at what I did to myself. Like, I've caused this. I'm to blame. You know, I don't want it to feel like that. Like, you know, it's look inward with compassion. Again, who's the person that you needed when you were little, when you were in pain? Become that person. You know, start inquiring from a compassionate way, not like a blaming way. Like, see, look at what you did to cause this pain to yourself. You know, be nice, be compassionate, respectful to that pain and to whatever it's saying.
And
lies
Eric
and
says,
secrets. Yes, I accept that people lie now, but I do my best not to engage with them unless I need to. I've lied a very few times in my life, Truth. Look, I have lied, absolutely. It's not something that feels good when I do it. And I, you know, hope to not do it in the future, but I'm human, I don't know. And I'm sure that there's also times when lying will keep you safe, and I get that. But in general, from my experience, is that lying is really unnecessary. Like, if you can't tell the truth, the least you could do is no comment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we unfortunately see that, people taking the fifth.
Yes, we do.
You know, which doesn't help. But at least there's not a lie on top of it, because the lie was already there to begin with. But anyways, you know, like, if you can't tell the truth, just don't lie. Try not to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think we all have from time to time too.
Yes, yes. And look, we probably are also lying to ourselves about something right now. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
When do we ever tell the whole truth to ourselves?
So, Katie, we really would love to have you on again.
I would love that.
This was amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Because I feel like you have so much information and so much to give to the collective.
I do.
I can't wait to see the new book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love that. Yeah. And you know, if anybody can't afford a copy of my book, I'm happy to send them a copy as well. Like it'll be a PDF version. But also I'd love to, you know, send that out to your viewers as well. If you can't afford a book, please email me. I am so like, I'm a real person and I love connecting with people. That's the reason why I wrote the damn book.
Yes. So beautiful. Thank you
It
so
is.
much. Oh,
Thank
what an
you.
honor. This has been
It
amazing.
is.
Thank you.
Thank you, sisters. And I could tell we're obviously soul sisters.
Absolutely. You know it.
Yes.
Mm,
So, I guess that's up for us for the evening. But
mhm,
we will be back in a couple of weeks, as you know.
mhm,
So, and September is going to be an amazing month because that kicks off our Raw Healing series with
mhm,
Zuma, the swearing therapist. And she's going to have one topic a month. And let me say, I was very fortunate enough to talk to her because we were speaking to her I was speaking to her about the show and we're having a Zoom thing. And it turned into a little counseling session. And I'm telling you, when you put the cuss words into it, it's just like there are no airs, everything's raw and real.
mhm,
So that's kind of the reason we have the show is or the series is called Raw Healing. So
mhm.
everybody
I
look out
fucking
for
Excellent.
love
that.
that.
Mhm,
Yes.
absolutely.
See, I mean, when you put the cuss words into it, it's like it makes you like you're not putting on any airs. You
Mhm.
Oh,
are, you
yep.
know,
You're in the
I'm
raw.
all for it.
yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Katie, again, we're going to have you on the show again because,
Mhm.
Please.
yeah,
Yeah, I would love to.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you,
Yay.
everybody, for joining us this evening or in the future, whenever you're tuning in.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Mhm.